Yo guys, welcome back to my channel. You're here at Stay Stick with Kit and welcome to part 2 on what Are You The One has taught us about dating and finding love. Let's get it. Are you the one? Quickly before we get started, if you haven't watched part 1, then check it out right here so you don't miss out. So what else has this infamous dating show taught us over the last few weeks? One thing is that you need to be open. Too often people cut things off because of silly arbitrary reasons. They're too short, so no. They believe in God, so no. They choose strawberry flavor over chocolate flavor, so no. Really? You have no idea the kind of connections you're missing out because of this approach. Like, how can you define someone's entire personality from what date they were born? Yeah, I'm calling BS on star signs. Come at me, bro. You know what? Take a best friend who you would say is most similar to you, and I bet money they are not the same star sign as you. Let's even go something a bit more drastic, like Cam and Kayla. Different political views. He was like, yeah, I support Trump. To which she responded, okay. Now, I'm not saying these things aren't worthy of being aware of about a person, but she didn't just cut it off straight away because of that. And then look at the journey in the house that they've had together. How Cam was so comforting to her when her ex came and she was getting all upset about it. The way he stood up for her. And even the way the ex dashed that drink in his face and he didn't retaliate, which most guys would have. He was more focused on making sure that Kayla was okay. And you saw the way she speaks about him in such a kind, loving, and almost an even spiritual way. Now, granted, they weren't a perfect match, spoiler alert, but they never would have had that if either of them had cut it off because of their opposing political views. And believe it or not, you can have the same values but identify different politically. I said I wasn't going to do politics on this channel, but I'm realizing it plays a part more than I thought. But if you let that first hurdle stop you, how much effort were you really making in the first place? And even if things don't work out romantically, there's always something you can learn, not just about life, but about yourself. Next thing, and Samantha said it best, so I'm going to steal this quote from her, but recognize when someone is your heroine. You need to be able to recognize when someone is good for you or bad for you outside of the getting high on the relationship bits. Because when you're having those great moments with them, like if you're on holiday together or if you're at a concert or it's a special occasion, it is like a high. You're high on the energy of the atmosphere that you're feeling together with them, or you're high on the emotions that you experience in these moments. Now, that's not to say that they don't make you feel good, but do they have an overall positive impact on you? Or a negative one? Like, how are they when you're going through a rough patch? Are they emotionally abusive? Do they say spiteful things? Do they trash your belongings? Do they have issues controlling their temper? Or can you both be angry, you've fallen out with each other, but you know how to let your emotions calm down in a non-destructive way and then sit down and talk so you can move on? Like, have you seen that guy and girl on Dr. Phil recently? He physically abused her to no end, but she kept running back to him. Even when her dad, who's like a Marine in the Special Forces or something, hired security to look after her, yet she still ran for her security to go back to the boyfriend. He is her heroine. This guy is obviously bad for her, and deep down she knows this, but she keeps coming back like a drug addict. And like a drug addict, you can't hold the drug responsible for why you keep returning to it. You need to take responsibility for yourself and realize when to say no. Enough is enough. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Another thing it showed us, which is, I guess, on a more serious note, is what emotional manipulation looks like. Kayla's emotional abusive boyfriend. You can see how he emotionally manipulated her with, I just want you to be happy. But then 2 seconds later be like, you're disgusting. With people like that, what they do is they say things that make you think they care for you and want the best for you, but then they'll put you down to make sure you need them. It's like they'll raise you up just to put you back down so that they can raise you up again. So then what will happen is you'll have these moments where you know this person isn't good for you, in which your gut is rightfully telling you. But then you combat that by thinking, well, this person raises me up when I'm low, so I need them. But what you need to see is that they are making you low for precisely that reason. Extremely manipulative. It's like breaking the plate, sticking it back together, and then breaking it again. With each time it's broken, the plate becomes a little bit more broken than the last. It's quite sad, actually. And they'll use whatever leverage they can for why you owe them, saying things like, I was there for you when no one was, or I gave you money so you could do this. They'll use absolutely anything, whether that's emotional, physical, or financial leverage. It's all about control to them. You know what? I'm going to do a full video on this because I think it needs more than a 2-minute segment. And the final thing for today is never take actions when you're feeling negative emotions. Now, I know this is incredibly difficult to do, especially if it's a reaction to a betrayal of some kind. But the worst time to take action is when you're feeling that emotional response to whatever's happened. Your mind is all over the place with the way you feel towards them, the affection you feel for them, but also how they hurt you, what it means for your future together, if there's a future together, the time you've spent, was it all a waste? Is it even true what happened? And if it is, why would they do that? Have they done anything else? All these things are going rapid fire through your mind. You're not thinking straight, you're not thinking logically, and everything is acting on emotional impulse. And in doing that, it often makes the situation worse than what it currently is. Story time! This is what happened to me. It was the weekend and I'd had a very long week, so I decided that I wanted to have that Saturday night in. But my girlfriend at the time went out with her friends. So I'm at home chilling with some pizza and some FIFA online, because what else do you do on a Saturday night? And I came across something that very much suggested that my girlfriend was cheating on me. I couldn't believe it. I was thinking, how could she do that? Why would she do that? I mean, I would never do that to her. I was feeling all these rapid emotions as any normal person would. All I wanted to do was go to where she was, out her in front of all her friends, dump her stuff on the floor and say, sayonara. And you could argue justification for doing that. But before I did that, I called my best buddy to run it by him. He's like a brother to me. He saw I was erratic, so he told me to calm down for the night, sleep on it, and then deal with it tomorrow. And that's exactly what I did. Following morning, I told her we needed to talk. We sat down, I told her what I found, and I said to her, if it is true, then it's over. But I needed to give her a chance to explain. So we talked for an hour or two, and actually there was a reasonable explanation, and it made perfect sense why I found what I found. Now, I almost blew the entire relationship. I saw this one thing and made all these assumptions without having the chance to even talk to her. I learned something that day. Children act on their emotions. Adults act on their intellect. Let's all promise to be adults from this day forward. Which surprisingly is what Kenya did after Tevin got some TLC from Jasmine in the shower. But because Kenya went to talk to him without kicking off, they had a great heart-to-heart, they got through it and became closer because of it. Do you watch Are You The One? If you do, what have you taken from this season? Thanks for tuning in. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'll make sure to respond to it if you do. And as always, keep it slick.
How?